Hey, welcome to Celebrity Spotlight Radio, and here we have an amazing special guest today. And usually on my show it's very inspiring, motivational, uplifting, but today the topic is Path of Blood. It's a film that was directed by Jonathan Hacker, an amazing acclaimed director that did a great film based on his book Path of Blood, which is the same as the film. But today is a very, very amazing and gruesome topic, but I tend to speak in that manner about this film. But in the other side of the coin, I also, when I went to see the premiere of it, actually the screening of it about a couple of months ago, I was just blown away because it was reality to me. It's way different when you see a film and you see a film of this magnitude where reality hits in. So in a way, I had a positive and negative feedback, and I welcome the director, Jonathan Hacker, to today's show. Welcome.
Thank you.
Amazing. By Mark Boal.
Mark Boal came on as an executive producer,
right
at the end of the process, to basically help us get it out there. Serious documentaries are hard to take to the public, to the wider marketplace, and so to have his kind of godfather figure helping us was really useful.
Yeah. So how did you get him intrigued with it? Did he read the book?
No. He saw a cut of the film quite early on, and I think he felt some kind of affinity for the project. His films are also relatively uncompromising, you know.
Right. So
they're visceral, and the film is visceral.
So he did Zero Dark 30. So do you think that when he saw that footage of the film, do you think that he saw comparisons of that film to this film?
Well, obviously he's done a lot of work. Yeah, I mean, he did all that, and Hurt Locker as well. I think. I mean, in a way, these are questions for him, so I'm speaking for him, which always makes me nervous. But I suspect that he felt an affinity to the visceral nature of the film. It's it's uncompromising. The film is very full on. And it grabs you by the throat, and I think he probably appreciated that.
What made you? Now you wrote the book.
Yeah.
Is the book? I have not read the book, so and I hope a lot of people in the audience did. But is there a comparison?
Well, basically, when we started on the production process, we decided that all the research was going to go into the book, and that the film itself would be as much as possible a pure story without all of that kind of background. The background and context is in the book. People can read that if they want it, but what we have in the film is we try to make it as pure a story as possible, so you're just thrown right in there, and the film cross-cuts a story of an Al-Qaeda campaign purely with footage shot by the protagonists themselves. So on the one hand we have the footage that was captured by the security services, in this case the Saudi security services. They raided safe houses and captured their propaganda units and captured all these tapes, and so we've got all of that footage. And then on the other hand we've got the CSI footage that the police shot. So when they did raids, they would have a cameraman there filming the raids. When they were looking at the aftermath of an explosion, they would have a cameraman, normal kind of stuff, CSI footage. And so by having all this footage from both sides of a kind of combat footage, you had everything, and you're able to tell the story of cat and mouse thriller in a way.
Sure. Actually, you sure did, because did Saudi Arabia, have they seen this film, or do they have any clue?
Yeah. So they I mean, I genuinely don't know what. I mean, I think they like it, but they didn't offer an opinion. I mean, I think one thing I want to get straight, because I think is they in no way interfered with the editorial process of the film, and I think that's important to say that straight out. And it's to their credit. The only things we were asked to do were to blank out, I think in one or two shots there was a security officer in the background, and we had to blank out his face. Fair enough. Sure. And there was some, there's a number of shots where you see ID cards, and those are fake IDs, but the addresses on them are of ordinary citizens, so you had to blank out the address, and that kind of stuff. So very normal reasonable
For
stuff.
me, as you know, an audience, I'm out there and I watched this film for the first time. I liked the film.
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't know what I was going to expect.
No.
You know, but when I was watching it, I learned a lot.
Right.
So because you watch a film, and it's a different take. This was, in my opinion, I saw a bunch of kids, like college kids,
Right.
laughing and giggling, showing emotions
Yep.
on their beliefs, and it was heartbreaking to see that, because I don't know if they realize that they're murdering people.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
I think one of the things I think is really important about why people should watch the film is that we think of Al Qaeda and ISIS as two-dimensional villains. You know, we have no conception of them as human beings, what makes them tick. Yet, if we are to defeat this phenomena, and we must,
Right.
we have to understand them as human beings, and we have to understand their thought process and their beliefs, because we have to defeat, more than anything, we have to defeat the idea, the ideology behind it. And it is a very potent ideology, and and I think that the film offers important. I think it will help people in that process of understanding them,
Sure.
and without forgiving them. You know, I don't think that, we're very careful
Right.
when we cut it to see the horrific consequences of their actions. Horrific, and when I was making the film, I felt a great deal of anger towards them. And I think the audience will feel anger towards
Yes.
them, but they will also feel a certain degree of empathy at certain situations. So I think you can empathise without sympathising.
Well, here's my reaction, and this is what I wrote, and I actually sent this to Emma, your publicist,
Yeah.
which she thought it was a great reaction of mine. I said, as gruesome and terrorizing the film portrays, it truly is an eye-opener when learning the real story behind Al Qaeda.
Right.
That's how I felt.
Yeah.
Now, is this the kind of reaction you expect
Absolutely.
from the audience?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and it's an important reaction. And I think it's, when we were putting it together, I didn't want to lead people into. I wanted to try and create a film where people could use their own imagination to think, their own, to provoke thought and use their imagination to enter into the scenes. And I think that's why you have a complex array of emotions when you watch it. And I think that's as it should be, I think it's a complicated subject. The motivations are complicated, and I think that's why people find it stimulating, and it stays with people. A lot of people have watched the film saying that they remember it. They remember certain scenes in particular. They remember it for weeks and weeks and weeks later. And I don't know about you, but I get weary of going to the cinema and seeing a film that I forget 3 days later.
Yes.
And it's really nice
Absolutely.
to see a film. I hope people will feel this, which is going to stay with them, maybe for months or years.
I did. It was a learning curve for me.
Yeah.
Especially when 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that story.
Yeah.
So, and then you watch this film years later, like now, and
Yeah.
it brought in
Yeah.
a lot of learning for me, understanding.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we need to do as a society, is
Right.
understand
Yes.
their point of view.
Exactly
too.
right.
You're not going to like it.
Yeah.
Of course.
But that's how we defeat it.
Yes.
To understand it, that's a sign of us being sophisticated, right?
Correct. Right.
It's not enough just to shout at them or to hate them. We've got to actually understand it and find ways, once we understand it, to defeat it.
Yes.
There are ways of de-radicalizing individuals who have come into this kind of belief structure. That's important too.
Now
It's not enough just to kill them.
Right. Let's go back a little bit and explain to me, how did you approach Saudi Arabia with with the footage?
Right.
Like, how did they go through the footage, or did you go through the footage?
Well, we went through the footage. The access to the footage was secured by one of the executive producers. His name is Abdulrahman Al-Rashid, and he used to be the editor of the Arab world's largest daily newspaper, Sharq Al-Awsat, and then he was general manager of Al Arabiya, which is the main pro-Western news outfit in the Middle East. He's very well respected, and he'd heard about the footage and managed to persuade the Ministry of Interior there to allow us access. So I had one of our team went over there and started going through the footage, and the tapes are still, the captured Al-Qaeda tapes are still in their original suitcases. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
And so there's like hundreds of little mini DV tapes. Terrible technology, I'm afraid.
Sure.
Anyway, we've moved beyond that. And so we went through and did the process of digitizing it all, and then trying to identify who it was that was in the footage, and translating it all. It was a, you know, the vast amount, like an iceberg, there's a vast amount of work that's beneath the surface. You know, that preparatory work, which enabled us to make those good editing decisions that make a good film.
So the book actually lured you into doing the film.
Well, we did it at the same time. The book, while we were doing all the processing of the footage, we started doing background interviews with members of the security services out there, with intelligence officers, so that we had the complete background on the story. But we didn't want to we didn't want the film to be like a history lesson. We wanted it to be an immersive story.
Correct.
And so that's why we split the two. And so they're kind of companion pieces, if you will.
So why the name Path of Blood?
I think...
Why did you choose that name?
Yeah, I wanted to get that violence is normalized in this environment, and it's actually more than normalized, it's sanctified, right? For these people, they consider themselves as fulfilling destiny, religious prophecy. They feel that what they're doing is good. There's a horrific moment in the film where we see a particular individual being interrogated, and then off camera he's executed. But we hear the voice, we only played the voice of a child going, "That's my daddy's knife." The point about it, and then there's a scene after, it's very disturbing. The point is, there's a child in the room. That for these people, the violence is sanctified. It is in no way distasteful. And again, that's part of what we have to understand about their belief system. It's a different belief system. You know, once upon a time, throughout the 17th century in Europe, people would turn up and watch witches being burned at the stake, or heretics being burned at the stake, and it was considered enlightening and ennobling to watch it, you know.
And everybody in the town would watch.
Yeah, and now we consider that incredibly uncivilized. You know, the Romans turned up at gladiatorial games to watch people dying in front of them, and they considered that not to be a horrific sport, but to be considered it ennobled you to watch it because you were seeing how people greeted death. And in this belief, you know, there are different belief structures throughout history, and we have to look at this belief structure of these terrorists and understand that they don't think like we do. And we have to then work out from understanding that how to deal with it.
Right. And you know, the title actually matches the way you structured the editing, the whole path. The whole path.
Yeah, the journey.
Which I actually was very intrigued.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, it was a whole learning thing for me, and absolutely great documentary. But here's a question for you:
Sure.
Will there be a part 2, like a sequel? Because obviously, I'm thinking they must have more.
Well, I don't know that the Saudi security services do, but I'd be shocked if the CIA hadn't captured footage in Iraq, for instance.
Right.
You know, shocked. And in Afghanistan, you know, all of these terrorist outfits consider propaganda to be incredibly important, and they shoot their own videos, and that video footage includes lots of outtakes, and it's very valuable to understand.
But here's the thing: why did they, like, I know the kids, but why did they want to videotape it? Was there like
I mean, basically their propaganda unit had handed around cameras. Oh, you will film everything, right? You film it and we'll cut together a propaganda video. But of course, what we're getting here is that they start messing around with the camera. They're no longer, they're not, you know, they haven't been, you know, so they shoot all kinds of stuff because it's fun. They've got a camera for the first time. Hey, let's shoot this, let's shoot that.
Now, the person that was holding the camera, did he die?
Almost everybody in the film was killed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's just amazing. Because you see them on their side, a happy moment for them. You know, like I said, laughing and giggling, like almost you're like in college. But then, you know, they're terrorists in plain English. You know, and I think, like you said, people are not used to combining themselves and seeing somebody like in today's world. What happens when a kid goes into a high school you know, and shoots everybody down, he's known as a terrorist,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But what do they really call him?
Yeah.
You know, mental disturbed and
Yeah.
other issues.
Yeah.
But to me, he is.
Yeah.
You know,
I think what we have, one of the things that makes this thought-provoking about the film is it makes you question the nature of evil, you
yes,
know, and good and evil. And I think there's a sort of universal quality about that you know, that cliche, the path, you know, the path to hell is paved with good intentions. You know, and throughout history, people have wanted to do these great, you know, do God's work, fulfill destiny, whether it's a racial destiny or a class destiny, you know, of Marxist ideas, and people get caught up in these ideas, and it justifies their inhumanity, you know. And I think that's part of what the film's about.
Yeah, it's such a hard task. Anyway, just want to let you know: is this film been shown anywhere? Premiered?
Well, it's coming out. It's premiering here on Friday.
Ah, okay.
And same in the UK as well at the same time.
So tomorrow,
yeah,
correct?
Right.
It's and in the UK when?
Same day, tomorrow.
Wow.
And then it'll be playing in different places across the States and in the UK.
So in New York,
and it'll be on demand as well.
Okay, so in New York tomorrow it'll be playing at the IFC, correct?
Yeah.
And in LA.
Yep, it'll.
Do you know?
I forget the name of the cinema.
Okay, I'll put it in the article.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
It is in Beverly Hills, the cinema.
Sure.
The one other thing that we haven't covered, which is worth mentioning, is about some of the bizarre humour in the film. Do you want to talk about that?
Oh, sure. Actually, I was kind of laughing, and you know, at some of the. That's the thing that got me.
Yeah.
As grotesque that the film was, I was laughing in certain parts.
Yeah.
Because it almost felt like a dark comedy.
Yeah.
But then reality hit.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh my God!
Yeah.
You know, this is reality.
Yeah,
this is people dying, and they're dying for a cause."
There are these moments of bizarre, farcical humour that pop out of the film, and I think we wanted to include that because it's this process of humanising them, understanding that in amongst these terrorists are a bunch of idiots as well. Not all of them are idiots, but some are, and that there are these, you know, this is not a highly trained. You know, they're not, you know, highly trained special forces. You know what I mean? They're a bunch of kids who've done a little bit of training, and of course that training is enough to kill a lot of people. It's you know, when you blow up a car bomb, you don't need a PhD. So you get that, and so they're fooling around, and these bizarre moments of humour where they, you know, they're trying to record a suicide video, and the young kid who's doing it. Oh, don't use such long words. I didn't understand what you mean, you know, and all this stuff. And you see the manipulation that's going on, and you know, or the kid who says, "Oh, don't film me. You can see my underwear," and all this sort of stuff. It's kind of endearing in a way.
Those are the part that was confusing to me because I took it as at first, like I said, a dark comedy, and then reality hit.
That's it.
But you know, it's a great film.
Thank you.
I wish you the best of luck, and tomorrow we're going to find out tomorrow, correct? And it was great to have you.
Thank you.
Great success.
Thank you.
And I hope there is another film, believe it or not, because I really enjoyed this one.
It's an important subject.
It's a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Pleasure.
يعيشون هذه الليلة بعد لحظات بمشيئة الله سوف تركب سيارتك.
زينة العملية الجهادية في السيارة أنك ما تحس إنك تخطئ على طول.
أعطيكم سر إني أحبكم كلكم.
الله أكبر الله أكبر.
والله حس الدنيا كلها.
والله إني تمام.